everyone, and welcome to our second webinar. This will be following on from our first webinar, which was centered around whole of life cover through Continental Life. The second presentation will again be by Manish Sharma of Continental, who will be talking about critical illness, which is a key component when looking at personal and business protection for individuals. And I hope you find the presentation as interesting as I did. Thank you.
Hi, very good afternoon from Mauritius. Thank you, Anthony, for the warm introduction and lovely weather here. Bright sunny afternoon, good weather. So to start, I am your speaker for today, and this is my profile. I'm having 21 years of experience in banking and insurance field with my expertise in sales, marketing, training, business development, key account management, concept selling. So today I'll be taking you through one of the important aspect of insurance, which is critical illness, which is very much underrated when it comes to the insurance part, because mostly people think about life insurance or even a health insurance. So critical illness is mostly underrated because people get confused with the thing that I already have a health insurance in place, so that will going to take care of my expenses and all. So critical illness is not paid much attention on that side. So today I will be taking you through the aspect of critical illness insurance and why it is very much important nowadays for people to have a critical illness insurance in place. So one of the important aspects which comes to our mind, that are we secured? Or you have to think upon, are you really secured? Because in this ideal world, everyone is healthy and no one is susceptible to any illness, but that's not the reality. So because we are not in the ideal world, nobody likes to think about the possibility of suffering any major illness. However, you need to consider the financial consequences of surviving a serious illness or an accident, which means like if someone suffers that kind of a critical illness, would your loved ones will be able to financially maintain the lifestyle which you have built for them? Would your employer support you financially if you are being treated for any serious illness? Would you be able to afford the care you may need if you become disabled? Would you be able to afford modifications to your home to help you with the consequences of an accident or serious illness? Or would your children be able to complete their education if you were unable to meet their school fees? If the answer is no to any of these questions, you should consider arranging a protection plan that can help you financially if the circumstances should change. Now, before moving on the further aspect of critical illness, I would like to share some of the statistics with you. So as at 2029, with the WHO report, 17.9 million people died because of cardiovascular diseases, which is heart-related diseases. 32% of the global deaths. So this is representing 32% of the global deaths. Out of these, 85% were due to heart attack and stroke. So which means out of 17 million premature deaths under the age 70 due to non-communicable diseases in 2019, 38% were caused because of cardiovascular diseases. Now, it is important to detect cardiovascular disease at early stage as possible so that management and counseling and medicines can begin and it can be cured. But all this requires a lot of expenses. Now, the other common critical illness we hear in the market is cancer. Now, cancer is the second largest cause of death globally, accounting for an estimated 9.6 million deaths, which is 1 in 6 deaths as of 2019. Lungs, prostate, colorectal, stomach, and liver cancer are the most common type of cancers in men, while breast, colorectal, lung, cervical, and thyroid cancer are the most common among women. The cancer burden continues to grow globally, exerting tremendous physical, emotional, and financial strain on individuals, families, communities, and health systems. In countries where health systems are strong, survival rate of many types of cancers are improving thanks to the accessible early detection, quality treatment, and survivorship care. But then again, for all this, you have to be financially prepared to support those kind of treatments. So going further, how can you secure your tomorrow? So that's the important aspect. Critical illness insurance is designed to protect one and one family from impact of critical illnesses and provide financial security in the face of crisis. Why? Because it will going to pay a lump sum upon diagnosis of a serious illness predefined in the policy. So the main purpose to provide the insured with funds to help with flexibility to do whatever it takes to recover. This can include arrange additional care for your children, travel to specialized treatment centers, supplement loss of income. So the money can be used however you want. It is not necessarily that you have to use it for the treatment of that disease. You can use that money because it is paid lump sum. You can use it for any purpose. Some of the major illnesses, just to mention, are covered like cancer, liver failure, kidney failure, major organ transplantation, heart attack, replacement of heart valve, surgery of diseases of aorta, coronary arteries diseases, Alzheimer, coma, brain tumor, multiple sclerosis, paralysis, Parkinson's diseases. These are the common diseases nowadays we are hearing in people. So these are growing year on year worldwide. So critical illness helps you to bear the expenses and become financially independent to take care of the expenses of these diseases if someone has it. Now, one thing people might get confused that I already have a medical insurance. So why I need a critical illness? Correct. You have a medical insurance, but is medical insurance is enough for you? Maybe not. Yes, you are covered by medical insurance. However, have you considered an impact of serious illness or accident could have on you or your family? Now, medical insurance is just tip of the iceberg, as you can see in the picture, because that takes care of your hospital bills and prescriptions for that particular period you are admitted to hospital or to cure disease. But whereas if you suffer a critical illness, whether due to an accident, whether due to medical reasons, below the tip of iceberg, there's a huge iceberg which creates a lot of pressure financially on the person, which is reduced income, daily living expenses, hidden healthcare costs, educational expenses, family care, mortgage and other lifestyle costs. Because your health insurance will take care of the expenses related to that disease for that particular treatment when you are hospitalized. But then this might reduce your income. Maybe you are not able to work in the same way you were working earlier before that disease. So critical illness, when it pays lump sum, can help you to take care of these hidden costs, which can help your family to bear that financial burden. That's why it is different than the health insurance policy you have in place. It is very important nowadays to have a separate critical illness insurance in place for yourself and your family's benefit. Now, critical illness, it bridges the gap in other coverages. So like critical illness insurance can pay for anything you choose, whereas your health insurance pays only your basic healthcare bills. Critical illness is normally paid in addition to any other coverage you have, whereas any additional health insurance may have pays only the balance of your basic health, minus the deductibles and co-insurance payments which is applied on your policy. Critical illness is paid regardless of your income and your ability to work. Whereas like if you have a disability insurance, it pays only a portion of your income to cover regular monthly expenses if disability leaves you unable to work for a specific period. Critical insurance pays directly to you while you are alive, whereas life insurance is paid to your designated beneficiary after you passes away. So yes, life insurance is important to have, even health insurance is important. Nowadays, critical illness is also very much important to have. And post-COVID, we are hearing many such effects in people, in their lifestyle, in their health style. Many changes are coming to their body. We don't know how this COVID in long term will going to react on us. So if you have a critical illness insurance in place, this might help to bear the financial burden which might create a hole in the pocket in case someone suffers this kind of an illness. Now, we work with one of the biggest provider insurance company in this aspect, which is the Sun Life Insurance. And we work through their Hong Kong entity, which is in place for last 120, to be precise, 127 years in Hong Kong. And they are highly credit rated. So AA- long-term credit rating by S&P Global. They have paid 27,000 plus claims in 2019 only, and it has increased in 2020, 21 and 22. Can share the latest data next time. And so we are partnered with them for 20 plus years in providing these kind of solutions to clients. So now coming to the key benefits of this policy, let me tell you one thing. It's a special kind of a plan because it is related to critical illness. And having the chances of critical illnesses in old age is sure shot and guaranteed to some extent. There is no other plan in the market which can cover critical illness up to age 100 guaranteed, because the chances of getting critical illness in older age is higher. So this plan, we can even offer up to $1 million worth of coverage depending on the country and where the client lives, country and residency. So, but we can go up to $500,000 generally. It starts with minimum $100,000 and up to $1 million ranges between that. The best part is in first 10 years of taking the policy, if client suffers a critical illness, there is an additional coverage of 50%. So that means if you have taken $500,000 worth of cover, first 10 years you will be covered for $750,000. Best part, lump sum is paid on diagnosis of diseases like heart attack, cancer, kidney failure, or any major organ transplantation. Or guaranteed, as I said, it's a guaranteed coverage up to age 100, either for life or critical illness, because it is either or plan. The sum assured is paid either in case of a critical illness, or if not, it will be paid in case of a death. This covers total 139 diseases, out of which 125 are major and early stage critical illness for adults and 14 for juvenile. Nowadays, lot of cases we are seeing for juveniles also for critical illness. This provides death benefit as mentioned. There is a guaranteed surrender and cash value in case there is a financial strain, you can't continue the policy. There is an opportunity and option. You can surrender the policy and you can withdraw the cash value out of that. As mentioned, it's a policy from Sun Life, which is actually 154-year-old company, AA- rated from all the credit rating agencies. Now, some brief about the plan. Plan name is Sun Health Omnicare. Premium payment term is limited. You can choose to pay your premium between 5, 10, 15, 20 or 25 years. You will still be covered up to age 100 guaranteed. So we can issue the policy starting from 15 days to 65 years old. So that means even a 15 days old child can be covered in this policy, and up to 65 years old adult can be covered in this policy. So currency, it's a dollar-based plan starting from $100,000 minimum coverage and go up to $1 million based on client to client and residency of the client. For juvenile, maximum we can offer $500,000 cover. So suppose a client has 2 child, so it is must to cover both the child for equal sum assured. It's not possible that you cover one child and you don't cover another child. You have to cover both the child equally. And maximum sum assured, we can even go to certain cases up to $1.25 million, depending on residency of the client. That benefit is 100% of sum assured plus the special bonuses which company declares year on year. So number of covered illnesses 139, major stage critical illnesses 63, early stage critical illnesses 62, and 14 juvenile critical illnesses. So for first 10 years, as I said, there is a 50% additional cover. So suppose you take a $500,000 cover, something happens in first 10 years, 150% of that is paid either in case of death or in case of critical illness. Depending on the critical illness, if it is a major stage of critical illness, full sum assured will be paid. That is 500,000 or 750, depending on the year. Or if it is just an early stage of critical illness, minimum $50,000 will be paid for any critical illness, and balance will continue. So there is an early stage booster also which applies, which is 37.5% of the sum assured is paid 2 times for the early stage booster, which doesn't affect the actual sum assured. So that's why in first 10 years, the original sum assured is 225%, and after 11 years, it is 150%. So we can give case-to-case specific details. When you share your details, we will provide you a quote with the details how it works for your age. Now, I would like to take you to some of the sample quotes to give you an idea how this product works. But before going that, let me just tell you, this is a special plan, as I mentioned, because this covers the critical illness guaranteed up to age 100, whether because of an accident, whether because of medical reasons, and there are high chances in old age to getting a critical illness. As I said, the number one reason for deaths globally is the heart-related diseases, which is the 32% of the world's death are because of heart-related diseases, and it is happening, it is growing year on year. Second comes the cancer. So this kind of a plan covers you for such kind of a diseases and risk, even whether death because of that reason or you survive because of that disease, and you have to bear a lot of financial costs to maintain the lifestyle and continue living. So this plan gives a lump sum benefit which you can use for any purpose, not only related to health insurance. Now, coming to an example. So this is an example for a 45-year-old person for $250,000 worth of cover. So if you see, these are the top 20 critical illnesses like cancer, liver failure, kidney, paralysis, multiple sclerosis, coma, brain tumor, etc. So in first 10 years, if something happens, the cover is $375,000, not $250,000, because there's an additional 50% excess claim is paid. There's an early stage boosters which is paid up to $50,000 for each claim, and it doesn't reduce the benefit. So that means if there's an early booster, early stage critical illness, so booster of 50,000 is paid, so it doesn't going to impact the $250,000 base cover. Base cover remains the same. Now, let me just give you an example. So a 45-year-old person chooses to pay premium for 20 years for a $250,000 cover. The premium is $9,790 a year. So if you see, in 10 years time, you have contributed $97,900. There is a guaranteed surrender value in 10 years time, which is $13,823. Plus, there will be an additional bonus, which is paid based on the performance of Sun Life on their investment company-wise. So it's not related to any particular fund or S&P or any equity market. No, it is based on the performance of Sun Life. They declare bonus year on year, which will be added to the guaranteed cash value. So if you see in 10 years time, including the projected bonuses as well as guaranteed cash value, the total value is $20,000. Now, in 20 years time, if you see, total contribution from your pocket is $195,800, including the guaranteed cash value and projected bonus. The surrender value is $174, which means suppose there is a financial burden on client. They are in a situation they cannot continue this plan because they have a financial burden. There is no critical illness which has happened. Client is still alive. They are into financial strain. They need money for themselves. If they want to surrender this policy, they can get $174,000 back, which means you have just paid $21,000 over 20 years to cover a risk of $250,000, either for critical illness or for life coverage. Or in another way, suppose in the 30th year, if something happened to client, it's a major critical illness like cancer or coma. So instead of $250,000, which is the base cover, full $336,000 will be paid to the client, because this is the value of bonuses as well as base cover. Or If something happens, client wants to surrender partially, they can even come and say, I need $100,000 as a cash. So the left amount is $226,000, which can be paid either in case of death or in case of critical illness. So if you see, this is a guaranteed coverage up to age 100. For example, hypothetical scenario, someone survives age 100, nothing happens. The cash value is $1.3 million, which is withdrawable. So this plan supports financially in terms of critical illness, family in terms of in case of a death. So this amount will be paid in case of a death, or in terms of a financial support. If I don't want to continue a plan, I need financial support for myself, so you can withdraw the money. In another way, suppose for critical illness, the amount, it is an early stage critical illness, and underwriter decides to pay $50,000 upfront for that critical illness, and client passes away after that. So balance $200,000 plus bonuses will be paid in case of death. So it is either or. It is not that 250 is paid in terms of critical illness also, and then 250 paid in case of death also. No, it will be paid either or. Now, there is another quote which I will going to take you for a child. Now, many people say, why is it necessary to cover a child? Why should we take an insurance for a child? Yes, I agree. Even I'm not in a favor of taking a insurance policy for a child, because their life depends on the survival of a parent. So if parent who is the earning member of the family, they cover themselves, then the child is secured. But here, when we are talking about a coverage for a child, so I personally look it as a gift to my child. I have taken a policy for my daughter, to be very specific. She's 8 years old now. I took it 2 years back. So the reason behind that, I have gifted this policy for my child. Though there is a coverage of juvenile critical illnesses also, which is 14 juvenile critical illnesses, which is Wilson's disease, severe asthma and all, which is increasing day by day in kids. So all the plan benefits are same. But let me come here why we can offer this plan to a child. So if you see, for a 5-year-old male taking $250,000 cover, premium payment term of 15 years, the premium is $4,362. So let's take an example. A person has taken this policy for the child, not specifically for the purpose of covering for critical illness or for life. The purpose is gift to a child. So let's take an example. You are contributing for 15 years. So you are contributing total $65,000 as a premium over 15 years for your child. Now, in 20 years time, if you see, your child will be 25 years old. You don't have any liability to pay for this policy. Now your child is guaranteed covered for $250,000 up to age 100, which is another 95 years from here, which is a long period, and that is a guaranteed coverage we are talking. Now, understand your child in his age of 55. Let me put it in another way. If he is into financial trouble, he is facing some financial challenges, we don't know how life is growing. He or she is into some financial difficulty, they need money. Instead of going here and there, within their policy, they have $295,000 worth of cash value, which can be withdrawn either partially or fully, which can support them financially. The total contribution you made is $65,000 only in the policy, and the value is $295,000, which can be used by them in form of cash by withdrawing either partial or full. If they withdraw full, the policy will come to an end. Now, there may be a possibility that they fell ill, they need money for the critical illness. They have a coverage of critical illness at any age. It is $250,000 plus bonuses. Or something happens to them, they are no more in the world. This money can help their family. So for kids, it is a gift. It is not actually a cover we are providing them. We are providing them a financial gift. Like for my daughter, I have taken this policy. Nowadays, how the relationships are maturing and growing, don't know. So if my daughter at her old age, she's left alone, she needs money for her family, for her kids, or for herself, this policy can act as a benefit of life insurance, critical illness for herself, or a financial benefit in case she survives and she is into financial difficulty. So for kids, this policy is a financial gift for them, which covers three aspects. And it's quite cheap when we are comparing to other insurance policies. So in today's world, one must have a life insurance to cover the unforeseen risk if you are not there tomorrow, to provide financial security, a health insurance policy to cover the risk of hospital expenses in case you are admitted and the treatment is done, and a critical illness policy to provide you the sufficient funds in case something happens like that, because it brings a huge financial burden on your pocket. So it's an important product to look after. So thank you for the presentation today. And if you have any questions, please email us on info@vfsint.com, and we will get back to you with details. Or if you have a particular request related to yourself, you need a quotation, please reach out to us. We will get back to you for more details. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Manish, for that excellent presentation on critical illness and how it can be incorporated into your life cover solutions or as a standalone solution. I'm sure everyone who has watched this will find it as valuable as I did, and thank you very much for your contribution. If anyone, as Manish says, does have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us at the email address in the final slide, or please contact your VFS financial advisor as well. Thank you. Goodbye.